Hi guys, in this video I'm going to explain how to wrap React components in Reflex, and the library or the components we are going to wrap in this video. We are going to wrap this countdown components from circular countdown React, and let me show you guys what the component is about. Basically, it is going to give you a countdown timer. So for example, in this case, you have a 1 hour timer, you have all these timers. So this is what we're going to wrap in Reflex, right? For this is how you're going to make use of the components. We have import countdown from circular countdown React. So this is the library, and then this is the components. And this is how to make use of the components. You have the countdown, you have size as a prop, total seconds as another prop, undone as another prop, should stop as another prop. And then to install the package, you're going to say npm install circular countdown react. So this is the components we are going to wrap in Reflex. Now I'm going to import Reflex as Rx, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to say class countdown. So this is just the name. It can be any name you want to pass there. And then I'll say Rx. So you're going to subclass components for your class. So this countdown can be any name. And then the next thing you're going to do, you're going to specify the library. In my case, because we are going to install circular countdown React, so I'm just going to copy this and then I'll paste it here. So this is library. So when you create the component, Reflex is going to install the component for you by itself. Then the next thing I'm going to now, we don't have any dependencies here. So we only have circular countdown React. Had it been there were any dependency we're supposed to install, then in that case, we are going to come down and say leave dependencies. Then you specify the dependencies. So let me show you guys an example of where you're supposed to use the leave dependencies. For example, in the case of this spline component, spline 2, so after installing spline 2, no, this is another, I'm just trying to explain situations you're supposed to use leave dependencies. Now after installing spline 2, React spline, you're supposed to install this other library. So in this case, you're supposed to use leave dependencies. But in our own case here, we don't have to do that. Then the next thing we are going to do, we are going to specify the component. In my case, now because the component name is countdown, I'm going to copy this. Now, how did I know? We installed circular countdown React, which is this, and then the components we want to make use of is countdown, right? So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it as the tag, which is the component. So basically, the first thing you have to do is you're going to create your class. In my case, it can be any name. Then the next thing you're going to do is to subclass Rx or component. Then the next thing you're going to put in place is your library. In my case, your library has to be the package you installed. So in my case, it is circular countdown React. So that's what I'm going to put there. And that is what Reflex is going to install for you. Then the tag is the name of the component you want to make use of. The name of the component here for me is countdown. Yours might be different. Now the next thing you have to take note of is these coily braces we have here. Now because we have these coily braces here, you don't have to say is default. is equals to true. We don't have to specify this because this particular import statement we have here is a named import in JavaScript. So we don't need to specify its default is equals to true. So I'll take this out. So had it been there were no curly braces for this import, had it been this import was a default import, then in that case we are going to say its default is equals to true. But since we have curly braces here, you don't have to do that. But if you don't have curly braces, you have to specify its default is equals to true. Then for my code, the next thing I have to do for the library is I was supposed to specify a version for my library. And this is important so that you have your code is going to work across different environments. What I'm going to do to get the version, you're going to go down to versions here, and then you pick a version that works. For my case, I'm going to pick the current version, which is 1.1.4. So in that case, in my library, I will say I'll put the @ and then 1.1.4. Excellent. Then I'll go back to README, and then I'm going to implement my props. So like I said, this component has size, total seconds, undone, should stop props. And then for you to know the types of your props, a lot of the time most components or most libraries specify the types of the props on the documentation. In this case, you can infer the type. You can infer this to be a string, this an integer, then this is a boolean. Other case, you can go to the repo of the project. You can go to the repo of the project to see if they specify the props there, or you can go into the code implementation. So for me, I went into the code implementation of these components to try to see the type. So in this case, I saw that total seconds was a number in JavaScript. This was undone function, should stop the boolean, and then size. In that case, what I'm going to do is I'll go back to my code base, and then first off we have size. So I'll say size is rx dot var, a variable that has the type of string, and then the other props we have there is total seconds, and then rx dot variable, and then I'll say int. Notice I have total seconds, but we have total seconds in camel case here, but I'm using the snake case in Python. I saw that a lot. So when you have a camel case implementation, a lot of time you can test with a snake case to see if it works. So I'll say I have total seconds here. And then the other props we have is should stop. So I'll say should stop. And this has a variable of full. And then for the event handler, I'll say undone. Event handler. And I didn't pass any arguments because from the implementation we have there are no arguments specified. So as simple as this is what we have. We have specified the library, the tag, and the props. Then the next thing we have to do is we are going to create our components. So I would say countdown is equals to, I'll call my class dot call the create method. So I've created my countdown. So when you reflex run, it's going to install this circular countdown React library, and then you can make use of the components. Now to show you how to make use of the component, what I'm going to I'm going to show an implementation on how to use this component. Um, what I'm going to do, I'll say class state. So I want to show an implementation. Rx.state pass. I'm going to declare an event, the undone event handler there. I'm going to declare now the component. So I'll say Rx is the reflex component. Is going to return countdown, and then I'll pass my the size to be. Now for this component, you can pass either the size to be small, medium, or large. And if you pass anything other than that, it's going to give you medium has the as the props value when you pass anything other than small, medium, or large. How did I know? I went down to the code of the components, and then I saw that the countdown sizes we have is small, medium, large, and also for the minimum limit for your total seconds, the limit minimum is 0 and the maximum is this value 359999. So in my case, I'm going to pass the size to be large, and then total seconds. I'm going to say since it's an integer, I'll say 120, and then should stop or shouldn't stop, and undone is an event handler, so I'll say state dot display value on done. Now because this is an event handler, I need to define it in my state. So I'm going to say def display value on done self. Then I'll just print a value here. Done. Then I'm going to add my index to my application. What I'm going to do is say app is equals to rs dot this, and then my team is equals rs dot team, appearance is equals to that. Then I'm going to add that to my page, the index. Guys, this is fine. And then I can run my code. Let me space this a little bit. And then I can run my code. Let's run. Okay, nice. We have the countdown timer here. So it started from 2 minutes. I specify 120 seconds. Then it's going to go through until it gets to the last value.